Hello and welcome back to the Essex Allotment Farm. It's an exciting day here on the farm, as you've seen from the previous clips. But for those of you who are new to the channel, my name's Alex. This is the Essex Allotment Farm. For its most part, we are a 4 seasons market garden that sells chemical-free vegetables direct to end consumer through veg box service or farmers markets. Now, we've got loads of other strings to our bow, which if you've watched the channel before, you'll know we do some consultancy, some site management for other people, linked to cafes, restaurants, and etc. But today we're on the main part of the farm, and as you've seen from the previous clips, it's an exciting day because after hobbying, keeping bees on the farm in conjunction with someone else, today we received our very first bees that belong to us at the farm and this company to produce Essex Allotment honey, or something. I haven't decided what I'm going to call it yet, but Essex Allotment raw honey for sale at our farmers markets with our veg boxes and online later in the season. Now, we're not going to make millions with just one hive. There's a plan to do it in a lot bigger scale over the coming months and the coming years. But there was an opportunity on Facebook Marketplace that was too good a price point and deal to turn down. So we've pulled it forward and we've taken on these bees. We bought them off someone else and we brought them to the farm this morning. So let me talk to you about it in a little more detail. Just before we talk about the bees in a little bit more detail, I should say we've done some planting on the farm this week, which I'll try and go through in more detail in a later video. But in this block here, which is 10 beds wide, we've planted 3 beds of broad beans, some established plants, some we've finished off beds with direct seeding. We've planted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beds of first early potatoes, that's Charlotte potatoes. There's about 80 seed potatoes in each one of these beds. We cram them in and we intensively plant them. And then down the sides of some of the potato beds, we've sown rows of kale and spring onions as a direct sow catch crop either side of the potatoes. The kales will be picked as baby leaf. We've sown them at real intense spacing, almost like you would do lettuce, so that we pick them and harvest them as baby leaf as the potatoes grow. We've planted the potatoes in a pretty standard way. We've got some well-rotted manure and bedding mix that we've put on top of sort of a mound process. And as they sprout up, we will add more manure and more finished compost, or rotted down manure and finished compost to the top of those to continue to feed those. We've used chicken manure pellets and bloodfish and bone to treat the soil or add nutrients to the soil. A little bit further up, it was a bit of a miscommunication. We've actually planted some cabbage, some Swiss chard and some perpetual spinach in a random bed in the middle of our potatoes. Like lots of businesses, we don't get it right first time. Communication is key, if you know that from any kind of middle management, and I've let people down there and we've planted it in the wrong place, but it shouldn't really cause any issues. We're just going to have a nice random bed of cabbage, perpetual spinach and chard in amongst our potato bed. It's the netted one here. I don't know how well you can see it on the screen, but it's the netted one here. And again, we've intersown with spring onions. We've taken the yang cedar up and down in between those plantings. We've planted them as young baby plants and sown direct spring onions using the yang cedar. Here's that bed in more detail, or a little bit closer. So in the top corner here, we've got 3 broad beans, then these are the potatoes, planted in the soil, below soil level, the original soil level, and then mounded up with a little bit of well-rotted manure and bedding mix. Then this is the rogue bed of wok cabbage, perpetual spinach and Swiss chard with, if you can really pick it up on the camera, you can just about make out the lines that go sort of down here, and that's where we've taken the yang over and planted spring onions. So yeah, we planted out that whole block this week. Let's get back to talking about the bees. But yes, I am super excited to have got the first hive on site, and the bees have been here just today. and they seem to have settled in nicely. They're already bringing pollen and nectar back to the hive. We haven't gone through that hive yet in any detail. We're going to let them settle for a few days, maybe even 7 days, before we go poking around in there, and then change the setup to something closer to how we want it to look when we get into honey production. I think in season 1 we're going to have somewhere between, I don't know, 3 and 8 hives on this site, not necessarily right next to each other on this veg growing patch, but like I said, the farmer that the arable farming family that we're bang in the middle of their land are interested in having some beehives in and around to help pollination and pest control and all that kind of things that come with having honeybees on the site across some of their arable farming areas. So we're going to do that as well and position them some elsewhere. But yeah, in season 1 we're going to have something between 3 and 7 or 8 hives here producing honey this season, and then we plan to expand that quite rapidly as the seasons go on. But watch this space for that, because we are going to be working with Mark, who designed the Nucci hive, who's got a sister part of that business, which is Buzzbox Beekeeping, and they're a more traditional hive and a more traditional setup, and we're going to be using a lot of his equipment, and he's going to be continuing to mentor me through my bee journey on the farm. So I've always got someone here that's a bit of an expert to help me along the way. And you've seen from one of the earlier clips that he helped me come and collect these hives in the first place. I hope you could probably spot which one I was in the 3 in that video, because I'm the one in the brand new shiny bee suit, whereas the other guys have been doing it for a lot longer. But anyway, yes, along with the benefits of pollination, pest control, things like that, obviously honey production will be a really exciting story to tell throughout this season. So if you watch one of my earlier videos, you'll know that I've sown a massive 1 metre wide strip by 25 metre long wildflower bit here. We've had some germination on that, which is really good. The bees are a bit flighty in this hive at the moment, so if you know anything about beekeeping, flighty means they're not necessarily stingy, but they're really interested in me when I approach the hive. So for today, I'm not going to go any closer, but I will continue to update you as I go through this journey. I think it'd be quite a nice thing to share with everyone, and we'll have a look at the hive in more detail. Like I said, I'm not going to go through it today. I'm going to let them settle. I'm going to let them continue their work to map out the area where they're getting pollen and nectar from already, their water source, so that they can drink. Again, if you're familiar, they'll have already found the pond that's on this particular site. So they should have 3-mile radius of really good crops and products for them to go and collect their nectar and honey from. But yeah, I will document this journey as the season goes on. But for now, this really quick video. This is the Essex Allotment Farm. My name's Alex, and like, subscribe, and do all that stuff that helps my channel grow. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.